Hey, Bloomington Normal, and welcome back to Speechless on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal and beyond. I'm your host, Phares, and we have so much to talk about today here live in studio. Everybody, don't forget you can text or call in at 309-451-9299 and let me know about what you're thinking about, what I'm talking about, all the guests I have on today, and everything like that. But let's get right into it, everybody. Jason Aldean's new music video causes quite the controversy. The 2024 Republican presidential primary continues to heat up, and an Indiana University student gets harassed by his student government. All of that and more on today's 2-hour live show of Speechless. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, everybody. I'm your host, Phares, and if you're just tuning in, you're listening to Speechless on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal and beyond. The reason why we say beyond is because not only are we streaming this on the app and on the radio, but we're also on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Rumble. Let's get ready to rumble, everybody. So you can go find me on Cities 92.9's Facebook or Twitter, or my own personal pages, Speechless with Phares. You can look at all those and see me in studio. You can interact with me right there. And if you don't want to text or call in at the text line 309-451-9299, you could also be texting, or you could also be just putting some stuff in the comments and asking questions and commenting through there. And wow, I have such a great show. We're going to start off today, guys, with the Jason Aldean song that has swept the nation. And so let's just give some premise to this entire story here. In 2020, cities were decimated by riots over the death of George Floyd. Since then, the progressive left has vilified and called for defunding the police. And as you'd expect, this tends to cause an increase in violent crime. According to Brookings.edu, from 2019 to 2020, Chicago, our neighbor to the north, had homicides increased by 55%. For violent crime as a whole, from 2019 to 2022, there was a 5% increase in Chicago, a 1% increase in Philadelphia, 26% increase in New York, and 22% increase of violent crime in Seattle. And in fact, according to Pew Research, around 6 in 10 registered voters, that's 60%, said that violent crime was very important when making their decision about who to vote for in last year's midterms. So people obviously care about the issue of violent crime. And all of that said, I've discussed on this show before how the silent majority can no longer be silent. Not only must we speak up about the things that are really pissing us off, we must also find creative outlets to do so. If you listened to my show last week where I was down in West Palm Beach, you heard me at an interview with the mayor of Magaville, Forgiato Blow, who had his song Boycott Target that went to the #1 spot as soon as everybody realized Target was selling pro-transgender and Satanist merchandise to children. And so he came out with the song Boycott Target. I had a chance to talk to him. Jason Aldean has this song, Try That in a Small Town, which calls out the violent crime and the surges of it in urban areas and puts a dichotomy between that behavior and how a small town treats its community. My guest that I had on my YouTube channel, if anybody follows my YouTube channel, Speechless with Phares on YouTube, you might have seen I had a guest on Friday during my daily show where I talked to him, AJ Penta, who is known as the East Coast Cowboy. He's an up-and-coming musician from New Jersey that also does a lot of work in Nashville. And I talked with him about how the woke mob comes after singer-songwriters who are a part of the silent majority that are fighting back against this woke culture. And so I'm going to play a little bit of that interview for you on the radio and on my YouTube and everything of me talking with AJ Penta, the East Coast Cowboy, a musician, about this song. And then I'm also going to get into a little bit about his own music. And so let's take a look and a listen to This Is the East Coast Cowboy. Well, first, it's going to play a little bit of the song, the Jason Aldean song that is obviously causing quite the controversy. And then I talk with him, AJ Penta, the East Coast Cowboy, exactly about this song as a musician, what it means. Here we go.
Sucker punch somebody on the sidewalk, carjacking old lady at a red light, pull a gun on the owner of a liquor store. You think it's cool, act a fool if you like. Cuss out a cop, spit in his face, stomp on the flag and light it up. Yeah, you think you're tough. Well, try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Around here we take care of our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't. Try that in a small town.
So, really, in my opinion, I love this song, but I want to know, as an artist, what do you think when you hear this song? Just initial reactions.
First off, I'm a huge Jason Aldean fan. I have been for a long time. Great songs. He's a dynamite voice. His band is excellent too. Some of my favorite musicians in the industry have either currently or have been playing with Aldean. I love it. It's awesome. I think it's spot on. I really think it hit the nail on the head. That was actually our idea for the Falling from the Heavens video, was to take news clips of all the riots. And just because of budgetary reasons, we just decided to put that into recording more songs. So we didn't do the video for it. But the idea and what it's saying and the overall thematic elements of it, I think, are spot on and are absolutely excellent. And of course, he's getting the backlash. He's a racist. Yeah, it's like the go-to, like, give me a break. It doesn't make one line to race. They don't like to look at the truth. They like to say, oh no, look, mostly peaceful, because mainstream media says it's mostly peaceful doesn't mean it's mostly peaceful. There's like that cliche moment of when I don't know if it's CNN or whoever, but it's somebody saying, oh yeah, they're, these protests are mostly peaceful, and the entire city is on fire behind him.
It's like that meme of that dog that's sitting in the chair and the house on fire, and he just goes, this is fine. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
It's exactly what it is. And as you were saying, the left has absolutely lost their minds on this song and on Jason. Like I said earlier, CMT has pulled it, causing an uproar from conservatives. Radical progressive minister, as you were saying, it's been called racist. Radical progressive minister Reverend Jackie Lewis accused Aldean of promoting lynching in a tweet. She said, there is no non-radicalized way to write a song about lynching. When Aldean sings, see how far you make it down the road, it invokes a very particular legacy. And then following that, Tennessee State Rep Justin Jones, who was one of the ones that was taken out and then he said on CNN that he said, quote, I felt like we had an obligation and a duty to condemn this heinous, vile, racist song that is really about hearkening back to days past. And the claims of racism and lynching are rooted not in the lyrics or the music, but in the fact the music video was filmed in front of the Maury County Courthouse, where a lynching did take place of an 18-year-old black man, but back in 1927. As you mentioned, no mention or reference of race was once made in this song. And even the courthouse factoid, you wouldn't really know unless you looked it up.
I wasn't aware of that.
Everything. So why do you think that race is being so heavily invoked in this? As I mentioned earlier as well, crime is skyrocketing in cities across the country. It's not, again, nothing about race was mentioned here. Crime sees no color. Crime happens to people and is committed by people of all different colors. Why is the left invoking race when it comes to this song?
Because it's an easy finger to point. Anytime that somebody speaks out or says something that they don't agree with, especially when that person has a very valid point, their immediate response is just, pull the race card. Racist. Like, come on, like people are over it. And then people come.
Racist. That's what AJ Penta, the East Coast cowboy, he says that's what they pull the race card. They pull the race card, and that's exactly what they are doing against this Jason Aldean song. For anybody who's just tuning in, I am your host, Kev Phares, host of Speechless here on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington, Normal, and beyond. That was a bit of my interview with the East Coast cowboy, AJ Penta, who is actually, as he's discussing the race card, he actually is a first-generation immigrant, his parents being, I believe, from Colombia, South America. And he talks about why the left is trying to go after this song. I truly believe that and Josh Bender, who was just on DPB's show, and he'll be back on for my show in a little bit, just taking a quick break. Having 4 hours of radio isn't always so easy for him. But he says the reason why this progressive attempt to boycott Jason Aldean's song isn't working is because none of them actually listen to country music, listen to Jason Aldean, listen to songs about rural community and rural living. None of them actually listen to that kind of music. And the people that do appreciate the song and realize what it's actually about. It's a song about community. I do want to give a big shout out to my friend AJ Penta, because he is a up and coming country music sensation. He has about 20,000 Instagram followers and such. And I want to play a little bit of one of his songs because I want to make sure. Here's the thing. Is so people are going after Jason Aldean. I'm going to break down a little bit more with that story here on the show myself. But we're creating a parallel economy. That's what we're working on. We got to make sure that we are uplifting the voices that everybody, I mean, we call ourselves a silent majority. We can't be silent anymore. How many times do I have to say it? We can't be silent anymore. And we have to exalt the voices that are out there pushing conservative and pro-America messages. And AJ does that amazingly, East Coast Cowboy. And I want to make sure everybody has a chance. You can go listen to his music. It's streaming pretty much everywhere right now. But I want to play a little bit of one of his songs. This one's called Livin' Free, just to give you a taste of what kind of artist he is, where you can go listen to all of his stuff. Livin' Free, AJ Penta. Here's a little bit of his song, and here's also him reacting to it from the interview I conducted with him on my YouTube channel, Speechless with Kev Phares. Here is that now.
Live on my knees, and I see the lies with these open eyes. Don't tell me how to live my life. I'm gonna try until I die. Well, maybe someday there's an angel on my shoulder that quit letting me down. I ain't gonna stop singing till I'm 6 feet in the ground. All I can believe is that I cannot say. Why you gonna live life easy when you living free?
Amazing song. I already got it on my Spotify playlist for my summer jams. But I of course, I think I always like supporting people that are working on making it, especially in an industry that will often vilify you for having messages and themes like this. I love the lines in there, like "Don't tell me how to live my life." I think that, I mean, it really kind of hits on what you were talking about, the experience with COVID. But maybe that was the inspiration, maybe it wasn't. Tell me a little bit more about what went into writing this song, and how you came up with a lot of the lyrics that you did.
So I had this chorus years ago, and it still had that kind of rebel attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, real quick side note, like being an openly conservative is one of the most rebellious things you could do right now. You have all these like super woke progressives, and they think they're being anti-establishment. But right now, you have somebody with a non-binary, blue-haired, whatever, toaster, however the frick they identify, and they're running for Congress. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's pro-establishment now. So they're not the ones that are being censored and vilified in society. So a few years back, this song had the same theme. It was about standing up for what you believe in and being who you are, regardless of anything else. So I had that chorus when COVID hit and they shut everything down, and I was watching what happened. If you listen to that opening verse, the opening line,
Yeah, like what's going on, and I don't
what's
even know
going
what's
on?
going on. Yeah.
This world is turned upside down. Like we're living in clown world. And
We're living in clown world, everybody. That's AJ Penta. I did an interview with him for my YouTube channel just this last Friday. I wanted to play a little bit of it. Make sure you go check him out on Instagram at East Coast Cowboy. You can watch that full interview with AJ on my YouTube channel, Speechless with Kev Phares. You can go check it out there. I can do a post about it. I wanted to give him a big shout out. You want to know why? One, he reacted to the Jason Aldean video with me, but two, because we need to be supporting people that are creators of unique, conservative, pro-America content. And so everybody go check out East Coast Cowboy, AJ Penta. He is a really intelligent guy that, like I said, is coming out with some fascinating new songs and everything that we should be supporting. But Jason Aldean, going back to this story, doubled down at a concert in Cincinnati. Yes, he did. He came out in and basically talked about his pro-America values. I will be editing this, or I'll be dumping a little bit off the radio because he does curse a little bit in this video. But if you're tuning in on Facebook or anything like that, you can see what I'm about to share. Jason Aldean at his concert in Cincinnati. Ooh, I guess I'm going to be playing it. I'll do some quotes on Facebook. If you guys go onto Facebook, I got to take a quick break here on the radio, but you can come onto Facebook, onto YouTube, onto Twitch, Twitter, and everything else. I'll be interacting with you. You can interact with me, and we can watch this video, and I'm going to break it down in the next segment a little bit. But I have so much more to talk about throughout the show, so don't miss a minute, everybody. You can, if you're not driving, you can, like I said, go onto Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, or Rumble and watch me and interact with me in the studio, and I can answer your comments. You could also text or call in at 309-451-9299. Don't forget, if you're tuning in on any of our digital platforms, like, subscribe, share, and comment. I want to know what you guys got to say, so we will be right back soon. I'm your host, Phares, and you're listening to Speechless, the news and talk on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington, Normal, and beyond. Okie dokie, everybody who is live here on YouTube and everything like that. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I see we got some fun friends in the audience here. We got my good friend Becky Swan. Turn it up. She loved the song. I will talk a little bit about the Sound of Freedom at some point. Again, if you did miss, though, I did do a full review of that on my YouTube channel. You can go find that Speechless with Kev Phares on my YouTube if you want to see that full review. I also got, and I already recorded that. It's already posted and everything. That was a few days ago. Then we also got Unconventional. Thank you so much for tuning in. Raven. You got to say white liberals were like, that's racist. Black people were like, cool song. Yep. And so here is what, I'm not going to play it on the radio. I'm going to quote it though. This is what Jason Aldean had to say about, you got about some of the controversy and everything. I'll add it to my screen here. This was him in Cincinnati just in the last few days. Take a listen.
Everybody having fun so far tonight?
I think it's muted. Sorry, guys. At least it was muted on mine. I'm going to unmute. Here we go.
Everybody having fun so far tonight? Well, I gotta tell you guys, man, it's been a long ass week. It's been a long week, and I've seen a lot of stuff. Suggesting I'm this, suggesting I'm that. Hey, here's the thing. Here's one thing I feel. I feel like everybody's entitled to their opinion. You can think something all you want to, it doesn't mean it's true, right? So, what I am is a proud American. I'm proud to be from here. I love our country. I want to see it restored to what it once was before all this bullshit started happening to us. I love my country, I love my family, and I will do anything to protect that. I can tell you that right now. Here's what I want to say. A lot of things out there, and one thing I love, you guys know how it is this day and age, cancel culture is a thing. That's something that if people don't like what you say, they try and make sure that they can cancel you, which means try and ruin your life, ruin everything. One thing I saw this week was a bunch of country music fans that could see through a lot of the bullshit, all right?
My God, the chants of USA in the crowd. I don't know about you guys, but gave me chills. I'm going to cover that in the next segment. Wanted to play it on only the live stream because obviously there was a little bit of language in that. And I don't want to, and I don't want to get FCC violations or anything, but I'll cover that, everything that he had to say there, and then a little bit more of the controversy when we come back here in about 10 seconds live on the radio. So we'll be right back. And we are back with Speechless on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington, Normal, and beyond. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I am your host, Kev Phares, and I do got to give a quick shout out to my good friend, Paul Garcia, out of Paul Garcia Productions. He sponsors this show, and Paul Garcia Productions out of Central Illinois does amazing work in producing quality video content, primarily advertisements for local businesses. And if you want your business to get more business, call Paul Garcia Productions today. You visit paulgarciaproductions.com. Or if you're on my YouTube right now watching, you can see that I have his link to his website and his YouTube tagged right there in the description. And you can check that all out. So big thanks to Paul Garcia Productions, who does amazing work out of Central Illinois. Everybody, we've been talking all about this Jason Aldean controversy for his song Try That in a Small Town, which has been deemed racist and pro-lynching, which is kind of crazy to me. I did a full video on my YouTube about reacting to The View, in which basically many of the hosts, including Joy Behar, Whoopi Goldberg, and Sonny, had to say that apparently the song is violently racist, promotes violence. It's a terrible song. It's just so bad. And really, the weird thing to me is a lot of people are saying that this song is against black people. Not once, however, in this song was race ever mentioned. Not a single time. Race was never mentioned in the song Try That in a Small Town by Jason Aldean. So let me just ask you, everybody, real quick. And if you're in Facebook, you can leave me a comment. Let me know who you think is the real racist. You could also text or call in at 309-451-9299. Let me know. But who is the racist in this situation? Is it the man who wrote a song that was anti-crime, pro-gun, and pro-community? Or is it the people that saw videos of masked criminals in which race was never mentioned, but then claim that it's racist against black people? Who's the racist in this situation? One or two? The guy who wrote a song that never once mentions race, or the people that see a music video that includes criminality and they accuse it of being racist against black people? Who is it? Which one is it? Which one is it? And this gets into the deeper point of this entire thing. The left has not changed. The Democrat Party, the party that founded the KKK, the party that has been vehemently racist, that went against the Civil Rights Acts when they were trying to be passed, that had more no votes on it than Republicans. Democrats opposed the Civil Rights Act. How is it that this song is being called racist? You want to know why? It's because the leftists and the Democrats have not changed. They're still racist. They want to keep racism alive. You want to know why? Why would the left want to keep racism alive? Maybe it's because we have things like Blexit. Blexit, a movement founded by like Candace Owens, Brandon Tatum, and people like that, to try to get and show how the Democrats try to keep African Americans on the Democrat plantation. But if the left can still stoke the idea that Republicans are racist and rural communities are racist, if they can still stoke that idea, they'll keep African Americans, black people, voting Democrat for the rest of time. And so that's why they push these false narratives and these false headlines. That's why they do it, to keep people on the Democrat plantation. And then also, I mean, a secondary reason is to bring out white guilt in your suburban white people that are like, oh my God, these awful rural community Republican conservatives, they're so awful. They're so racist. Yep, that's what it is, everybody. Keeping us on the Democrat plantation. That's why they claim Jason Aldean and small town people are racists. That's why they claim it, these lefties. But don't worry, Jason Aldean is doubling down and he's staying behind it in his concert in Cincinnati. He claimed that what he is, he's not a racist. He's not pro-lynching. He's pro-American. He loves our country, and he wants to see it restored to what it once was. Jason Aldean doubled down, everybody. Keep supporting Jason Aldean and people like him. Everybody, I got to take a quick break here on the radio, but don't forget to tune in on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Rumble. I'll be right back. Don't worry. I'm your host, Kev Phares, and you're listening to Speechless on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. Okay, everybody, we are back onto YouTube and everything. Thank you guys so much. Let's go through some of these comments here while I'm taking this break. No other place I'd rather have. Exactly. America is the greatest country on the face of the planet, bar none. Bar none. Absolutely. Cancel culture does need to be canceled. Absolutely. Let's keep looking here. I got one of my guests coming in here. He's going to join me for the next segment. We're going to talk a little bit about 2024, everybody. 2024. Ryan, apparently, according to the left, just because you live in a small town means you must be racist. Apparently, that's just it's what the left would say. It's what the left would say. I don't get to choose. I don't make the rules. I just have to live by them, apparently. So, okay. How's it going? License, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll be right back with more Speechless here, and I'm going to bring on, I'll give you guys a little taste of who my guest is today. One of them. This is my good buddy, Josh Bender. You guys probably have seen him before. Let me get your mic on here, Josh.
Yeah, that would help, yeah.
There you go. Your mic's on.
There we go. What's up, everybody? How you doing? I'm sorry. I sound terrible right now.
You're okay. We've had a lot of fun this weekend. We had one of our good college friends' grad parties that we were at, so I guess I got to give her a shout out. Bianca, congratulations on graduating.
Congrats.
Thank you so much for being just a good friend. Oh, Raven, you say you live in Alabama. Does that mean I'm a racist? Yep. You can't, according to the left, if you live in a small town or in a southern state, you must be a racist. It's a prerequisite, actually.
So I live in a southwest town. Does that count?
Yeah, you're a racist. You live in the desert, so
I do.
In a rural area. You're a racist.
Very small town.
You're a racist. You're awful racist, and you're already white though. That's the other thing too. So it doesn't even matter if you live in a small town or if you're in Alabama or in a southern state or anything. If you are white, you're automatically racist.
That's true.
But if you live in the South and you are also of even if you're not white, you're an Uncle Tom or you're a race baiter or anything like that. Race traitor, all that kind of stuff. I'm sorry. Again, guys, I don't make the rules. We just have to live by them.
Yeah.
I don't make the rules. Do you make the rules, Josh? Who makes the rules?
The institutions.
The institutions. Those gosh darn institutions making all those dang rules.
The overpaid professors.
Those overpaid professors. Wow, that's a hot take right there. Overpaid. All of them are overpaid. They make too much money. They make too much money. Just, you gotta lower their pay. They just don't deserve it.
Yeah, I mean,
I just don't. Let's hear your Trump impression, Josh.
Oh God, not right now. Absolutely not right now. If you can't tell, I woke up sick today, and I don't know where it came from, but I woke up really sick.
It's called a hangover, Josh.
No,
we all
it's
get
not.
them.
It
we
is
all
not,
get them
because it's my nose. It's
Ugh.
like stuffy. So
Raven says he identifies as a black man. Well, then, Raven, you are sorely mistaken, and while also being
that one lady did it.
Which one?
I forgot her name.
Well, I know there's that one, but there's also that like Indiana like state rep or something. Do you remember that story?
Yeah.
He was just like, I'm a black woman, and you can't tell me differently. And it was a headline.
Kamala Harris goes back and forth depending on the day.
Yes, it does. Kamala Harris goes back and forth. She is quite just a fascinating individual.
That's not what I thought you were gonna say. I thought you were gonna call her like a fascist or something.
Oh well, I mean, there's that too, but.
Oh man, you can't make me laugh too much.
I'm gonna make you laugh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you sound awful. We're gonna do it. It's just what's got to be done. Formerly talented. Josh
yeah, that's our new thing. I'm formerly talented. No.
Getting everything set up here. If you guys got any questions for Josh,
throw them in the chat. I can see it.
Put them in the comments.
I can see it.
Okay. And we're back with Speechless on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal and beyond. Why do I say beyond? Well, I say beyond because you can find me in studio. You can see me and my guest on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Rumble. Everybody, if you were listening to the DPB show at all today, you might have heard he had my good friend, former host of Speechless. He was a long time ago, former host of Speechless, former talent, formerly talented, Josh Bender. a high school teacher out
Yes.
of Nevada. He is back in town, and this is where he went to college, actually, at Illinois State University. And he's in to talk with me about a lot of different things under the sun. But Josh, just for anybody who's just tuning in, give them a brief introduction as to who you are. Try to be least biased as possible so we can.
Least biased as possible? Okay. Well, my name is Josh Pender. Yes, I went to Illinois State University. I graduated a year ago. Now a history teacher out in Nevada. Great time back for the summer. Woke up sick, so sound bad, look bad, but that's okay. I'm still here, having fun.
Awesome. So we're going to get into some different stories. First off, Josh, I'm interested in your perspective. I was just covering the Jason Aldean story.
Yeah.
His song "Try That in a Small Town." I know you've heard it. I know you've heard some of the interest in that the left has taken into it. What do you think about the song? Is it racist? Is it pro-lynching? Just what are your thoughts?
No, I mean it's a great song. I think it's very accurate. You take this rioting, this lawlessness, you put it into small town. It's not going to last. It doesn't. I remember for a while there during 2020, they mentioned, "Oh, we're going to go to the small towns," and everyone said, "Good luck," because we're not going to stand for it. And they never did it because they understood that was going to be bad. In terms of the pro-lynching, it's pro-lynching. If you go somewhere in the South, there's more than likely going to be some sort of lynching that took place there. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Because, I mean, Southern Democrats at the time were very racist. They were.
Mm-hmm.
They lynched people. It's a very, very unfortunate thing. Guess what? The Union, in fact, our guy here, Abraham Lincoln, he stopped that. So, I guess that's the way I see it. It's a great song. It's a great song. I encourage everyone to listen to it.
Absolutely. Okay, well, the main thing that I wanted to cover with you today, because you obviously have been following the 2024 presidential primary a lot, as have I. It's part of my job.
Right.
But out of the New York Post recently, and it kind of lays out a lot of interesting things in here, and so I want to kind of take it piece by piece and talk about it with you. It's about here is who is on track to qualify for the first GOP debate. So GOP presidential hopefuls are just shy of qualifying for the party's first primary debate in August. And many of their campaigns have been kicked into overdrive to make sure they meet the thresholds needed. Well, what are the thresholds needed exactly? Well, I believe as I read it here, the six candidates there are six current candidates that are poised to qualify for the debate. And they claim they've already met one of the requirements, which is the Republican National Committee says that you have to have 40,000 donors individually.
Yes.
And then you also need to have at least 1% of garnered support in 3 independent national polls. So you have to meet both of those. And I believe the 40,000 donor threshold is kind of an interesting one because it really kind of boosts the idea of the grassroots that's really trying to be pushed in the GOP that in the past has kind of been negated in national politics. The expected qualifying debate candidates as of right now are Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy, Nikki Haley, Tim Scott, and Chris Christie. There's a few that are not quite at those 40,000 threshold and 1%. And that's Mike Pence, Asa Hutchinson, Doug Burgum, Will Hurd, Ryan Binkley, Francis Suarez, Larry Elder, and Perry Johnson. Pence is kind of an interesting one being not on there, but
yeah.
Just before we get into much deeper, what do you think about the upcoming debate? What are you expecting out of it, Josh? Who are you expecting to win? What kind of things are you thinking about it?
Sure. Well, first things first, I hope Donald Trump shows up. I mean, he's talking about not even showing up because he thinks he's somehow owed the presidency, owed the election. And I just don't think that's the case. He needs to show up and he needs to actually debate. I think DeSantis said that best. No one is owed anything. You need to show up and debate. And you could support Trump. That's totally fine. I've been very open with my support of DeSantis, and he's my guy. But I understand the support of Trump. But he needs to show up. He needs to get in that debate stage. In terms of what I think we'll see, I hope we see actual really, really good policy talk, especially things like Ukraine, the economy, education, gender ideology, things like that. I want to see that actual substance talked about. I think that'd be the best we can do. In terms of who I think is going to take it, I don't know. I mean, I would like to say my guy's going to take it, but I don't know. I mean, it all depends on the questions and who's actually up there. So.
Yep, I understand what you're saying with that, Josh. According to this New York Post article, there obviously have been questions in the national media as Trump has insinuated that there's a possibility that he won't even go to this debate. One thing that he did say was a quote from himself. Ronald Reagan didn't do it. A lot of other people didn't do it. When you have a big lead, you don't do it. That's what he said in a recent interview on Fox News' Sunday Morning Futures. He also said, I have a lead of 50 to 60 points in some cases. He said, you're leading people by 50 to 60 points. You say, why would you even do a debate? It's actually not fair. I understand your perspective, and I honestly usually fall on the side of it sounds kind of entitled to the entire presidency. But what would you have to say in the idea that there are some polls that have him up 50 points?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of polls have him up. I mean, I do love that. There was this push for a while that polls were nonsense. I mean, Trump always said it, don't trust the polls, don't trust the polls. But now all of a sudden polls are what he lives off of. And so, yeah, some polls definitely have him up. If you look at a lot of the polls that have him up, it depends on how the sample size is. A smaller sample size tends to have Trump have a massive lead. A larger sample size, it's a lot closer between Trump and DeSantis. And so I think that's a big thing too. When he's talking about Ronald Reagan didn't do it. Yeah, he didn't do it when he was the incumbent president already running for a second term and there was no real viable option. That's when he didn't do it. Trump lost in 2020. So he's not running for, he's running for another term, but he's at a break. He needs to come back in and I think step up. Drop my phone there. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't trust all the polls. I think polls are, it's also super early. I mean, July around this time is usually when another candidate's up. If you look in the past, there was one that showed that at this point in, I think 2008, 2008, Hillary Clinton was beating Obama. So I mean, it's so early. It's hard to determine.
I understand where you're coming from with that. I am interested though, especially as you've been very vocal about your support for Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. There's a few polls, one of which being from the Morning Consulate, and I know you say to take polls with a grain of salt. However, polls at least up to 1% are necessary to be even on this debate stage, and taking a lot of them is interesting to kind of compare. But the Morning Consulate came out with a poll recently that shows Vivek Ramaswamy tied with Ron DeSantis.
You talking about the Kaplan poll?
No, it was Morning Consulate. They were both tied at 8%.
I didn't see that one.
Okay.
I saw the Kaplan one that showed that they were tied, but Kaplan also hates Ron DeSantis, so that doesn't shock me.
Well, you have two polls that show they're tied.
The Morning Consulate, I haven't seen it. What I would say is,
but why would you? Let me finish my question to you is, well, one, Donald Trump is ahead in every single poll.
Yes.
Period for the primary, and two, what do you think about the fact that that Ramaswamy is really kind of making his way up? Why do you think that DeSantis has kind of stayed pretty stagnant in terms of his polling, but Ramaswamy is actually taking, I mean, even in the ones where they're not tied, he has taken more of a chunk.
Oh, for sure.
Recently.
Yeah. I don't know. I think in terms of DeSantis staying stagnant, he stayed consistent. And I think that's interesting. I think we're going to see a push here soon with some of these bigger interviews he's doing. In terms of why Vivek has taken a boost, he's just getting out there more. I think he's doing the really, he's smart when he's campaigning. He is taking these, he's going to a lot of these like smaller settings and talking, or he'll go to, or when he goes like Turning Point and talks to a lot of the youth. That's a great idea. I mean, it's a genius idea. I don't blame him for doing it. I just think, or I don't just think, I also think he's very Trump-esque in terms of his policy. And so he's appealing to the Trump crowd for that reason.
I understand where you're coming from with that. Do you have anything, like, if you were on DeSantis's campaign team right now, what would you give? Because here's the way that I see it. And again, like I've been pretty open about how if the election were held today, I would be voting for DeSantis. But I mean, I think that there's a lot of problems with his campaign right now. I mean, if you are running a campaign and you're trying to get up to where it seems like you'll be competitive with the major incumbent, this one being Donald, well, kind of incumbent. I mean, Donald, you know what I mean, with Donald Trump. Right now, the fact that he has stayed stagnant, how you would describe consistent, would seem like losing to me. Like, you need to keep having consistent growth in your polling. What would you think he should be doing better? I mean, especially as he's got some people coming up on his tails.
Well, I mean, so he did just fire a bunch of staff members, and he's going to be kind of revamping and refocusing, which I think is good. I mean, you need to do that, and you'll be able to.
What was he doing at the beginning then?
So I think one of the biggest problem was he was really soft on Trump. He kept saying other people in this campaign. He let the Never Back Down pack sort of be his attack man. Now he's actually, I'm starting to see him really start to hit back. and really focus on hitting back as directly at Trump in his wording. I think that's really smart. He needs to get his ground game up. His ground game is everything at this point. Trump doesn't seem to have a ground game. And I don't know if that's the case. From what I've seen, he doesn't seem
What
to
do you
have
mean by ground game? Because Trump literally will go to almost any event. He's all over.
Well, he not necessarily. I would give some pushback on that. He did skip out on Iowa, hasn't gone back since or until a couple weeks ago, but he canceled a rally over weather. I disagree on that. But
then he was back. Well, then he rescheduled it and was back like 2 weeks ago.
It was 2 weeks ago, right? For the farmers one, right? So a little different, but still back, which I'll give him, credit's due. But people knocking doors, handing out signs, handing out literature. He needs to, just going to these smaller areas, I guess, is better. I think focusing on the swing states right now and the early voting states is smart. It's where everyone's going. I get it. I think we really need to have Trump needs to have more of a ground game, if that's the case. And I think that's what DeSantis needs to focus on too, is really focusing on that ground game. Get people knocking doors, get people out there talking to voters and saying, hey, you like Trump? Cool, but here's why DeSantis is better. And here's why he's going to actually be better than Trump.
I understand. I think he's got to be strategic though, because when it comes to at least the DeSantis needs to be strategic when it comes to going after Trump in any way. The way I kind of see it is DeSantis, every time that Trump gets an announcement, and we just had another announcement of an indictment pending against Trump this last week. Every time there's an indictment, more people support him. I mean, like it's just the way that it's been going right now, and fall on whatever side of that you want. It's a reality of this campaign that there. I mean, I would say it's direct election interference.
Yeah.
In the fact that we have people persecuting Trump for things that other politicians did, literally trying to find every possible way to go after him. But anyways, when DeSantis goes after Trump, there are people that are going to be so anti-DeSantis simply for the fact that he would be going after Trump at all. Trump is the only person that wields the power to go after every single person in the race without losing.
Yeah, but you notice he only goes after DeSantis. He doesn't go after any and Biden.
I'm willing to bet that within the next few weeks he'll start going after Vivek.
I would like to think.
I think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
because I mean, the biggest reason why he's going after DeSantis is because he's the second in line right now.
Right. And he feels that he's
and so if Vivek, as of right now, if DeSantis doesn't make serious changes to his campaign to get his name out there more, and to get his face out there more as well, Vivek will overtake. I predict it now. If DeSantis doesn't make changes to his campaign, then Vivek will overtake him in the polls.
I predict Vivek will have a spike. He's going to drop. He's going to drop after the first debate.
Maybe. I guess we'll have to see.
Prediction.
We got to take a quick break here on the radio, but we will continue this conversation throughout the next segment and on our live streams on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Rumble. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll be right back with more Speechless on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal and beyond. Okie dokie.
I gotta get my phone. It fell.
All right, you can grab your phone.
I just heard a crash.
I got you. Let me check. I got a interview with an IU student at 4. That'll go probably till about 4:30, Josh. And so I got you through the next segment till 4. And then if you want to come back on at 4:30.
Yeah, we can do that.
Let's look. I see some people don't know Raven. You don't know much about Vivek. I'll do a video on that on him at some point. I'm trying to schedule an interview. I'm hoping it can happen.
He is a fascinating guy. I will give him that. He's
very interesting.
Fascinating.
And he checks off that box a little bit about not wanting old people in office.
Yeah,
he's
young guy.
I believe he's the youngest person to ever run for president.
Ever run for president? No.
Oh, really? Who would be the youngest then?
Younger people have run. They just never make it very far.
Okay, like who's the other young? Because I'm pretty sure, because he's 37, it's 36 to be president.
35.
Right? 35. Isn't it 35 to run, but you got to be 36 by the time you're in office?
Nope, 35.
Maybe I'm wrong. Okay.
35.
So 35 is the youngest presidential candidate. Let's look it up. I thought it was.
People who are 35 have run. They just don't make it very far.
According to The Guardian, Vivek Ramaswamy might be it. Oh, no, that's 2024. It autofilled. William Jennings Bryan at the age of 36. So
yeah, there you go.
So I lied, but he's the youngest currently in the race.
Yeah, yeah, he's very young.
Interesting guy. There's some questions I have about him. I mean, he had that Soros fellowship.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Which is one big thing. And then he's also got, I mean, he made a lot of money in big pharma.
Big Pharma.
And so that's another thing. There's some questions I got about the guy. I think he's interesting. I think he's a nice guy. He threw a open bar party for a bunch of college kids.
That's always
that was,
good.
I mean, like, won me over a little bit with that, with some free booze, but
I mean, again, it's I'm not anti Vivek by any means.
I think he's running for vice president. I'm like pretty convinced that he's running for vice president right now. What do you think about Nikki Haley?
Used to love her. I really do. I used to really like her. She's lost me recently though. She seems too pro-war.
She's very pro-war. My biggest thing was she was super anti-Trump on January 6th. And I'm just like, it was kind of bogus. But I mean, the one thing is that she does fill kind of that seat of woman. Like, I mean, I hate to play the identity politics game. Yeah, color is kind of hard with her because she's white passing.
Yeah.
And so, like, I mean, she can claim the immigrant status, but unless you really push it out there that she actually is, I don't know. We need to find people that fit the demographic, but also fit the ideology. What do you think about Chris Christie?
I mean, Chris Christie's in just to slam Trump. That's what he showed up just to slam Trump and to get his name out there a little bit, and then he's going to leave. And I think it's funny you say that because this New York Post article I was taken from says it's no secret that former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie is chomping at the bit to square off in a verbal bout with Trump. That's the first line he wants to get on stage just to slam him and then leave. And I respect it to an extent. I mean, I think it's interesting.
I know. I think it's kind of like if you're not running for president, don't run for president.
Yeah, I see it either way.
And that's kind of how I feel about people that are running to try to become VP and stuff like that. It's just like, if you're not running for president, don't run for president.
Yeah, because I think there's already two names in the ring potentially or people are talking about for DeSantis as VP who aren't running. It's Kim Reynolds of Iowa and Sununu from New Hampshire. He's not running for re-election.
He says he's not running again. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what he's doing because he's not running. I do not take Chris seriously. Nope.
Yeah.
Me neither. Unconventional. Me neither. This is absolutely true. I forgot to say it. Raven, Nevermore. Leftists boycott a song and it hits #1. Conservatives boycott Bud Light and it loses millions. Absolutely.
Exactly what I said. Yeah, exactly what I said. Yeah. Liberal boycotts don't work because
they boycott things that they weren't using in the first place.
Right. It's like when they boycott Chick-fil-A. It's like, were you eating that much Chick-fil-A? Probably not. So, yeah, I 100% agree.
Okay, we're gonna continue on. You have what else do you think about 2024 right now, Josh?
It's so early. It's still early. I mean, after that first debate, I think we'll get a better picture. But I mean, I'm open about who I believe in.
Yep, I got you. All right, we're coming back in the next 5 seconds or so. And we are back with Speechless on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal and beyond. I'm your host, Phares. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I have so much to do in the next hour of this show, but we got to finish off the first. And I got my good friend Josh Bender, former host of co-host of Speechless. I always like to say he's a former talent, formerly talented.
That started last night, I think.
2 nights ago. Yeah, but that's giving him a hard time about that. But yes, Josh is a high school history teacher, and we were talking a lot about in the last segment about 2024 and what's going on with that election, the primary, the debate coming up. I want to talk a little bit more to you, Josh. So you're a high school history teacher.
Yeah.
You also teach like United States government.
I teach government this year. Yeah. My first year teaching that.
And so you're going to be talking to your students a lot about this upcoming election. How do you plan on teaching the election?
So I want to focus first on the fundamentals of what elections are and how these elections work, the different processes, getting to be a candidate, the two-party system, electoral college, things like that, popular vote versus electoral college. That's number one. Number two is I'm doing a fun thing where I have put all the candidates up on my wall so far. Before I left, I have to go back and put more on. And they're going to be up there. They're labeled Democrat, Republican. And then when they drop out, I'm going to rip them down. And just to be like, look, this person's out. Here's what happened. I'm going to talk about here's what happened. I'm also trying to at least once a week engage them to focus on current events. And they're going to basically pick a news article, write, 500 words, whatever on it, and summarize it. What happened?
Yeah.
What's going on? Just get them involved. Also going to try to teach them how to register to vote, understand the importance of voting, understand primary processes. If they can't vote for the primary, great, they should. Nevada changed their primary a little bit. I don't remember exactly how, but yeah, so I'm going to really focus on all that. It's going to be really fun.
I got you. And so how, knowing that you have a bit of a bias, actually, I want to talk a little bit about where you teach as well, because you have your own bias on who you want to run for president. Can you tell, I mean, you probably already had some of these conversations with students a little bit about like where your students and subsequently where your students' parents lie on a lot of these issues?
Yeah. Donald Trump. They're all Trump. Yeah. They're very, very Trump. And majority are Trump. I think some of them are Trump to just because oh man, he talked cool and he this and that, kind of the same reasons we were at first. Like he was appealing to a lot of people. But they don't know a lot of substance of it.
Yeah.
And so that's gonna be interesting. I think once I start getting into substance and some things like here's what they're talking about, how these are gonna switch. But it's very Trump right now for sure.
Gotcha. And so how do you kind of handle that? I mean, especially being not as pro-Trump, and how have you handled that in the classroom?
Sure. I tend to ask questions. Why? Why do you like him, or why don't you like him? And why do you like this person or this person? And I want to hear the reasons why, the rationale. And if I hear something that's blatantly wrong or false, I don't want to say wrong, but I know that's false. I'll say, well, you might want to look into that a little more.
Yeah.
You might want to. I'm like, that's not quite it. You're on the right track. You're not right there. Here's kind of what actually happened, and I'll be like, look up this or listen to this, and you'll get a little more insight. Yeah, I mean that's kind of how I tend to do it. People have asked me, do you have your choice? I said, yeah. I said, I have my choice, and I won't share that, but I have the person I choose.
I got you. And so moving a little bit differently. So we obviously, I know in the past, we only got about 2 minutes here, so let's make it quick. But you've talked in the past about how you were kind of attempted to be indoctrinated when you were at ISU. Can you just speak a little bit as to what you were taught in classrooms about being a white teacher and how you should treat students, and then how in practice it differs?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is equity. They teach you equity, and you have to, adjust according to race and gender and this and that. And I don't do that. I go in and I say, listen, here's my expectations for you. You're going to meet them or you aren't. And if something's going on, talk to me. There's obviously special circumstances where, oh man, my internet went out last night. Okay, cool. We work with that. Or, oh man, my mom was in the hospital. Okay, fine. We work with that. But it's treating everyone equally to the same standards and letting them figure it out. And that's the biggest thing that I think I got some slack for this, but I said equity doesn't. I don't care about equity. Equity does not exist. I care about equality. I got so much slack for that, but that's how I live my life and run my classroom.
Absolutely. Well, everybody, stick around. I still got one more hour of Speechless. We're going to bring Josh back on in the bottom of the next hour, but I do have a great conversation I'm about to have soon with an Indiana University student who is being canceled by his student government. Everybody, that story coming up and a lot more in the next hour on Speechless on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. You could also go on to Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Rumble, and watch me there if you're listening on your radio. We'll be right back. Have a great Sunday, everybody, and stay tuned. Okay, I should be having my next guest come on soon. And it's gonna be an interesting segment.
Yeah, perfect.
I'll keep you on for a little bit, Josh, and then I'll cut you when I got to get this now. I'm excited for this story. I just saw it on it's actually a Students for DeSantis member. That's
really?
how I got connected with him. Cool. Yeah, so he's an interesting guy. And I've only ever texted him, so we're gonna see how this goes. But I need to make him a little. Oh, I wanted to give a shout out to. I'm gonna do this real quick. I recently I get a lot of comments on some of my shirts that I wear. Not this one, so don't comment on this one. It's nothing special, but I do get some comments on some of the shirts I wear because I wear some things that are kind of provocative. One of them being, I had a shirt that I was wearing for a while on my shows. Anti-Socialism Social Club is what it said on it. And so I'm going to share my screen. I could show you guys this website. So I got this. Let's put it in here. There we go. So I had this shirt, Anti-Socialism Social Club. Let's make it bigger. So you guys can see there's that shirt. They got some other fun ones here. I plead the second, stand for something. Don't censor me, cancel culture. They got a ton of projects. FJB looks like the So they got a lot of fun ones here. If you're from California, the right to bear arms there.
That's funny.
Stand for some Baby Lives Matters, tax the socialists. They're really good at their graphics here. And so if you guys are interested, I actually recently got an ambassador code with them. So I am actually an ambassador of United Merch Co. You can get flags and everything. And if you want to get money off, you can go visit unitedmerch.com, use code speechless at checkout, and you get 20% off.
Wonderful. I will use that.
Yeah, heck
That's
yeah.
for sure.
So you can go and get some of that stuff there if you want any of the merch, if you want to wear some of the stuff that I wear.
Well, I mean, I'll look better in it, but yeah.
Yeah, you can. Honestly, I don't blame you. You probably will look better in it, but you can go to unitedmerch.com, use code speechless to check out, get 20% off, and you can get any of these shirts that you see here. And they got no more than just shirts. They got like hats, they got fun stuff, flag shirts, stickers. So yeah, so go check them out. Again,
that's awesome.
Speechless to check out, 20% off. You can get all that. I got Alex in the waiting room now. Alex, I'm sure if you can hear me, we'll be back live on the radio soon here, and we'll outline your story. I am so interested, and we'll let you introduce once we're back on the radio in about 3 to 4 minutes. So hopefully you can hear that good, and we'll bring you on soon. But yeah, so everybody, if you want to go check out one of those t-shirts, you can get them. It's at unitedmerch.com. Use code speechless at checkout, 20% off. So let's see what I can get some comments here.
I'll be right back.
That's fine. I'll bring just myself in here. We still got a few more minutes. I'm going to take a look at these. I have a custom shirt that says "Make Politicians Afraid Again." You can get stuff just like that. Like Andrea, thank you for tuning in. You can check that out. You can check out that other website that I sent you, unitedmerch.com, and you can see stuff like that. Speechless at checkout. They had one. I'm looking at it here. All cops are badass. You can get that if you want. Yep. We will be back soon here, everybody. College kid, Alex. Alex, you're going to have to, I'm going to bring you on now because I'm going to have you help me out with your last name here.
You're good, Kevin. How's it going?
We got you here now. I can hear you. Alex, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm going to take out that camera so we can get it just you and me. How do I pronounce your last name?
All right. My last name is pronounced Poudrier.
Poudrier. Alex.
Yes.
Poudrier. That's French right there, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, sir, it is.
Oh, man. A Frenchman. You ready to wave the white flag yet? Or?
Yeah. I'm not like real French. I'm like French Canadian. So I don't know if I have the liberty to wave the French flag.
And what exactly, before we get back to, what exactly was your position in IU student government?
So in IU student government, I was the chairman for the committee on student rights and concerns. And so we obviously dealt with issues like with student rights. And I was originally so you're a member of Congress, of like the student Congress, and like the leadership is like when you become like a committee chair. And like in, the United States Congress, like you chair the committee. So you have a bunch of committee members and like you work through, you set the agenda for bills and stuff. And lead the committee. Gotcha.
Okay. Well, we still got a few more minutes here before we're back live on radio. I'll have a brief introduction that I'm going to read for everybody on the radio, and then I'll bring you in, and I'm just going to let you go, man. Tell your story, air your grievances, and I can help lead a little bit if you need me to, but it's your show at this point because your story, from everything that I've read and heard so far, is very interesting, and a lot of people are going to want to hear it. So everybody, make sure you're sticking around. If you're watching right now on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Rumble, everybody, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, share, everything like that. And just like help get the message out there because Alex's story, we want people to hear this. We're going to probably write an article too for it on cities because this is the kind of crap that happens at American institutions, at American colleges, simply for trying to air a difference of opinion. And so just wait, everybody. It's going to be huge. We got about probably 45 seconds left until we're back live on the radio.
Sweet.
Oh, disconnected for a second. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I should have, I have 5G right now. I have 5 bars of 5G, so I should be all good. Is there like a lot of background noise or am I
You're actually pretty good. It sounds pretty good right now. So.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, I'm in Colorado right now. It's a little windy, so.
Oh, well, that's funny. You got going skiing or anything while you're out there?
Just hiking.
Just
A lot of
hiking? I
hiking.
got you.
Yeah. hmm
I've actually
Yeah,
I've never once in my life been to Colorado. So
yeah, it's a beautiful place, like the nature aspect, but
I
like
got
the
you.
governance aspect, definitely not. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's naturally beautiful.
100%. All right. Well, we will be back here in about 10 seconds. So I'm going to mute you on my screen and everything. And then I'm going to intro the show and everything. And we'll be right back.
Awesome.
And we're back with Speechless on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. I'm your host, Kev Phares, and I am so happy to be talking to you guys today. If you're listening on the radio right now, I appreciate it. But you could also, if you're not driving, you could go to Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Rumble, and be watching and interacting with me right there. You could be commenting and seeing my next guest, everybody. I have so much to talk with you about today. In the last hour, I talked about Jason Aldean. I talked about the 2024 predictions with my good buddy Josh Bender, the history teacher. But in this next segment, this show is called Speechless, everybody, right? You know, you've tuned in for a while. You know, I like to cover stories about people that attempting to be canceled and all that kind of stuff. And I got my start in this show and in this business of politics and everything like that, actually with professors trying to silence me on Illinois State University's campus. Well, I have another student who's actually being thrown through the ringer right now. And so to introduce it a little bit, it's Indiana University, a big school. You probably heard of it, the Hoosiers. In Indiana University's student government is specifically harassing this one student. So Indiana University student government is a self-pronounced advocacy organization on their campus. The executive branch and Congress are elected by students, and they are allocated a dollar amount from every student's tuition and fees that they pay to the school. We're pretty certain, me and my next guest, Alex, are that the figure is somewhere between $150,000 to $200,000. So an elected student government has enough power over $150,000 to $200,000 and where it is allocated towards. And this is all student money. It's basically the taxes of the school. Though their student government has done a lot of good things with its money, like support their school's food bank, they have also been a beacon for a radical left virtue signaling forum. They donated $27,000 towards subsidizing Plan B towards students on campus as a reaction to the overturning of Roe v. Wade. And so my guest today actually has been sparring. He is a member of the student government, and he's been sparring with the student government for the reason that he actually is getting a lot of flack for some kind of anti-LGBTQ discussion or something. Alex Poudre, I'm so sorry, buddy. I am not great at more of a French last name. Thank you for joining me, my friend. Introduce yourself a little bit to my audience. Oh, I can't hear you. I think you're muted. Right now, my friend.
There we go.
You
You
go.
should be able to hear me now.
Awesome.
All right.
Yes, I can.
All right. Thank you, Kevin, for having me on today.
Of course.
My name's Alexander Poudrier. I go to Indiana University, Bloomington. So Bloomington, Indiana, not Bloomington, Illinois. So
Sister city right there.
There you go. So yeah, I'm in Indiana University student government, and I'm just on here to tell my story about being canceled, and I'm just here to I want to serve as an example to other students who are going through the same thing that I'm going through, and just show that like we're not going to back down, and like we're here to stay.
Absolutely. So I want to start off from where this story kind of begins. You sent me a little bit, obviously, about the left-wing activism. Oh, he disconnected for a brief second. We'll make sure he gets back. Awesome. You're still there. So you talked to me a little bit about this left-wing activism that IU has pushed itself into, subsidizing Plan B. Then there was this. It seemed to really be what set the needle over its limit for you. Internal resolution number 1. You sent it to me. And it includes quotes from it, such as they're supporting Pride Month. They cite a lot of statistics, like from the far left radical child mutilation organization, the Trevor Project, which claimed that 45% of LGBTQ youth considered suicide in the past year. They have the census that discusses LGBTQ community experiences. Basically, they wrote this legislation for your student government to support child transition, among other things. Can you talk to me a little bit about why this legislation was brought forth and what you had to say about it?
Yeah, so essentially, like all woke organizations and woke universities, across woke companies across the country, IU student government is, trying to join that bandwagon, and like essentially what they did was they wrote this resolution as a like show support for the LGBTQ community, which like I'm not anti-LGBT. I'm not like homophobic or to anything like to that extent. Like everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and respect. But obviously the issue comes when, they're endorsing the idea of, and they dress it up in this euphemism of, gender affirming healthcare. And it's not gender affirming healthcare using, hormone blockers that are used on sex offenders and mutilating the genitals of children is not healthcare, and that's where I really took a real problem with this. So I essentially I took a stand. I said, IU student government endorses the idea that, and they use the word endorse the idea that like of child mutilation, like the genital mutilation of children, and I just said, like, hey, this is like Orwellian, and this is just like spreading like wildfire across, especially like super big schools, especially like Big Ten schools. And like the main issue with this is that like they're trying to like, I have no issue with them, like saying that resolution, like if that's the sense of like the Congress, then you're not going to do anything to change it. But what I really take an issue with is like when they're trying to censor me reprimand me, and remove me from my leadership position, and that's like where the real problem is
Absolutely.
taking place.
Absolutely. And so I want to get into that. There was so you also sent me a document in which you're being reprimanded by the student body Congress. And it also looks like they're trying to say that you need to be, yes, in it, it says you must be removed as the chair of the Committee for Student Rights and Concerns effective upon the passage of this resolution. In this resolution, they say that you had made, you had your social media bio tagged IU student government, and thus any comments made on your social media, directly represent that of Indiana University student government. They said that you made comments that promote hate and intolerance and instigate violence. So you apparently, according to your student government in this resolution, is they claim that you were instigating violence towards the LGBTQ community. Can you please explain to me what kind of violence you were supposedly instigating?
Again, anything that you say that's not a threat, I'm very familiar with, the student code of conduct at our school. I've looked at it very intimately, trying to pass free speech legislation, and like I'm very intimate with it. And anything that you say that they don't agree with is a threat, whether it is or isn't, like whether it is or is not a threat. So and that's like where I
Oh,
go,
must have
and
gotten
this is
disconnected briefly. Hopefully we'll get him back here. You're back. You're good.
I'm back.
Yep.
Okay, sorry. But yeah, like anything that you say, like that they disagree with at the end of the day is a threat, because you're threatening their logic, and you're threatening like their ideas. You're not actually like threatening them, but
Mm-hmm.
you serve as a challenge to them, because like you are like the only common sensible person in the room. So and it's like it's fine to disagree with people, like in that discourse should be had, but canceling someone in the name of that, like it just shouldn't be allowed. And it's just sad to see, especially in a state where Indiana is a very red state, it's very conservative, and like Ron DeSantis said, like you have these red states, and they're just letting this all fly. It's all happening. And like you see states like Florida, like this stuff doesn't happen. And if it does happen, like something's done about it. And like red states really need to take charge of their educational institutions, because they're becoming just indoctrination centers. That's all they are.
Absolutely. And so you got, like I said, you're getting accused of instigating violence. I'm sure that this censure that you received from student government is not the only communication you've received from opposition regarding your statements. Have you gotten texts, DMs from people that disagree with you, that might be of interest?
Yeah, I haven't gotten like too many. My social media account, Alex Pood on Instagram, ALEXPOED on
Mhm.
Instagram. Shameless plug. I haven't got really all too much like hate, or like I haven't received any threats. Like
Well, that's good.
thankfully, I think the students, like, they're hopefully not there to like threaten me, and like I'm thankful for that. But I did, receive some, like, like, why are you saying this, and all that
Mhm.
stuff, but nothing like threatening.
Well, that's good to hear. I do want to ask, so what is coming out of this then? So are you officially removed from your student government as of right now? Does a vote still need to be held? What's kind of where are we at in this?
Yeah, so the vote does still need to be held, and the main issue that I'm taking with this resolution is that they're trying to cite me under a student conduct violation, which, for those of you who don't know, like, I use student conduct violation, like that's like through the university, not through student government. So they're trying to say, like, hey, you violated a university conduct, like, policy, which is like the equivalent of me going committing like a crime or a misdemeanor in the outside world and being like punished or kicked out of school for that, like, it, like, at school. That it's the same, like, it
Mhm.
holds the same weight. So that's what's really dangerous about this. They can reprimand me, they can like try and censor me, they can remove me, like, I'll never quit. But when you start going after people through, like, and you're trying to hold them accountable for conduct violations for exercising their freedom of speech, um, to which, like, it wasn't a threat or anything like that, that's where it's an embarrassment, not only to the student institution, but also the institution itself. And, like, I just want to clarify, IU Bloomington has not taken any sort of like action against me. They have their free speech policy is really good. This is all the student group,
Well, you
IU
go
student
to,
government.
it's like I go to Illinois State University. I mean, basically, you go
Mhm.
to a public university, they have a legal obligation to, because they are taxpayer funded, to
Mhm.
uphold the freedom of speech. So if the school came after you in any way, you'd have a phenomenal lawsuit on your hands.
I
Um,
know, I know, I'm totally aware, and the big thing about this is that, like, we just have to stop letting this happen, especially in red states, and in states where, like, like, we can do something about it. Like, India is very red. Like, this shouldn't be a problem. And also, it comes down to, like, at other universities, I've seen, I've attended the Association for Big Ten Students, which is like all leadership for students,
oh, cut
and
out a
they,
little bit
like,
again. I know he's doing this on his phone, so hopefully he'll be right back. There you are. You're back.
okay. So I've attended the Association for Big Ten Students, and which is like all the Big Ten student governments get together and they exchange ideas.
Mhm.
And at other universities, this, essentially, the biggest thing about this is that the students' tuition money is going towards this stuff, like the Plan B, and reactionary things to, like, normal legislation passing, which is, it's just like ridiculous. Like, paying for Plan B for students is just ridiculous. And some student governments are given the responsibility, upwards of millions of dollars, to like allocate money to student groups, and so that includes, like, political groups, like, it could be Turning Point, it could be College Republicans, it could be Young Americans, like, and that's where this issue comes in, because I've seen, and you'll have schools that their student governments try and withhold funding from conservative student groups because of, and essentially, like, restrict their freedom to operate on campus, get funding, and, like, have a platform. So that's what I'm here for. I'm here to make sure, like, that like, I want to put the word out because it does happen. And at the end of the day, students need to get involved at, like, the lowest level. So, like, at the end of the day, like, student government doesn't, like, it doesn't mean all that much. It's not going to do, like, whether your changes are, like, minor or major, the, it doesn't matter because everything is something. So that's what I'm here to say. I'm here to say, get out there, get involved, whether you're doing a little change or a big change or taking a big stand. and, stand up for what you believe in and never back down.
Absolutely. And so we are coming up against a break here real quick, but I really want to just ask your advice for anybody who's listening, who's a student or even somebody maybe in their workplace that has attempted to share their opinions, but feel silenced. I oftentimes say the silent majority cannot be silent any longer. And you seem to be following that very well. What's your advice to people that are in a comparable situation where they're receiving hate, if not even possibility of losing a position that they worked hard for simply for speaking what they believe? What's your advice to them? Seems like Alex might have froze a little bit, or I froze, one of those two. But we're gonna get to the break here as we're talking. And hopefully I can get Alex back on. Maybe once there's a little bit, hopefully his service gets back on there. We'll get that question answered at least on our live stream. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back soon with Speechless on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. Feel free to check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, or Rumble, and shoot me a text at 309-451-9299. Text or call in 309-451-9299. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be right back with more of Speechless. I'm your host, Kev Phares, on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington, Normal, and beyond. Take that off. Hopefully I can get him back on. I know. So everything got it froze and his thing left. So sorry about that, guys. I hope I can get that question answered at some point. I really appreciate Alex coming on. He's a great kid and obviously standing up for the truth in a time where a lot of people are either too afraid to or simply don't believe in objective truth. So thank you, Alex. If you're watching this right now, thank you for coming on, and we'll get you back on soon. Follow up with that story, if not sometime today. Andrea, this is amazing. Your boss told you had to get the jibby jab, and you backed off when you served papers to him. Good stuff. That's exactly what we need. That's exactly what we need. That's the kind of stuff we're advocating for here. Is just being a self advocate. There we go. We got Alex back here. Alex, we are on a break from the radio, but I was just hoping I could get you to answer that last question real quick regarding advice to people that are standing up comparably to yourself. Like we just had Andrea in here who filed a lawsuit because her boss told her that she had to get a vaccine. What kind of advice to people that might not be as easy for them to necessarily file a lawsuit or speak out? What kind of advice do you have to people that are might be a little bit more scared of that kind of stuff?
All I was going to say is that, apologies, my phone died and I have really bad reception.
All good, man.
Really, really bad mix of conditions here. But all I was going to say is, like, if you stand up for what you believe in, stand up for what's right. And you're going to have people who get behind you and support you every step of the way and admire you for that. And at the end of the day, like, taking that first step, taking the dive, that's what leaders do. And I can't recommend it enough. You're going to find the right people who will be there to, like, support you, and we'll have your back every step of the way. So
awesome. And just real quick before I want everybody to know as well, you're a member of the military. Okay, we have like a minute and a half left before I get back, or actually just about a minute until I'm back on the radio. But can you just tell everybody about your service real quick?
I can't speak like in that capacity, unfortunately, but
no, I was just wondering about, like, if I wanted to make sure everybody could thank you for your service, honestly.
Oh,
so.
Okay. Gotcha. No, thank you for your support. Thank you for your support. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining me, Alex. I'll be in touch with you. I think we're probably going to try to write an article about this through our digital media stuff. And so we can make sure we get all the facts of it right down to a T.
Awesome. Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate it. Thank you for this opportunity.
Of course, Alex. Have a good one. I'll send you this clip at some point in the next few days.
Will do. Thank you.
Awesome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So that was my friend Alex. I do have to come back on the radio here, but we'll break that down with my buddy Josh in a moment. And we're back with Speechless on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. I'm your host, Phares. Just got done with the interview with my good friend Alex. He was able to join the end of that, or the end of the break on the live stream to finish up that last question. But I'm going to bring back my good friend Josh Bender. Josh Bender is a former member of Turning Point USA and College Republicans at Illinois State University, former student at Illinois State University, also former co-host and formerly talented individual of this show. Speechless, and so I got him. Like, I sold your mic off. I was still introducing you, buddy.
Sorry,
No,
man.
but no,
you know I like to talk to you, buddy.
he's back. He's back. Everybody was a member of Speechless from the very beginning, and I want to just break down a little bit about what we were talking about with Alex. You heard the interview, because that's not like the thing that's really sad is that's not an uncommon story.
No,
it's one we need to talk about. It's one that we need to be in the media and we need people to know about, but it's not uncommon. Josh, talk a little bit about what you thought about that interview and how you relate to it.
I mean, I'm proud of him for really standing up. That's awesome. I mean, hearing that he stood up and stood, stuck to his guns is amazing. I mean, it's not like he did anything wrong though. He just simply shared an opinion and people disagreed. I'm glad that no one's threatening him or anything. I'm glad that he's not getting any crazy threats. That's that's sad. That's where people turn to now. But yeah, I mean, all he said was, here's my opinion. The fact they're trying to say, oh, well, because you're geotagged here, you stand for our opinion. Well, if that's the case, then every Tom, Dick, and Harry represents everything. And that's just, that's not how that works. I could speak, like right now, I'm speaking in an unofficial capacity. This is my own words. I'm not representing my employer. I'm representing myself here. And so that's just ridiculous.
Totally. And you relate to this. You had a comparable situation in which you were targeted by students when you were at ISU. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I was targeted. Well, I mean, physically, that was different. We were out there with students for Trump in 2020 election. And, we had two students, or we had a little scuffle had started with some students, and it was mainly just kind of going back and forth verbally. I mean, that's really all it was. They ripped one of our signs down. I asked why. We tried to put a new one up. They started yelling things back and forth. And eventually, I mean, two students came up to me and, technically it was aggravated assault and battery because I was holding a sign. He hit the sign, and thus that's an extension of me. So he hit me. And when I said, hey, man, what was that? He said, what are you going to do about it? I'm going to beat the F out of you, and turned and actually faced me and started walking towards me. I will say the counter protesters were great by stepping in and not letting them beat me up. But I do appreciate that a lot.
I think really though, Josh, I mean, like, I don't think that they were protecting you. I think that they knew that kid could get charged with something.
Oh yeah, I could.
And so they were protecting that kid. I think had there been no cameras, had it not been in a public sphere, I think the counter protesters would have let your butt get beat. But
probably
that's just, I don't think they really cared about you at all, but you can thank them all you want.
I'm not thanking them. I'm saying it's the least being, it's basic human decency to step in and make sure I don't get beat up.
But why do you think that we have people like this? I mean, so some people talk about like psyops, like psychological operations from the government and from powers that be, from elites and everything like that. And to an extent, and I know some of it sounds like unconfirmed conspiracy theory, whatever. I mean, but the fact of the matter is there does seem to be a really interesting hive mentality around certain issues. Like, you could be best friends with somebody, but as soon as you say like, oh, well, I support Trump, a flip switch or a switch flips in their brain. Or you go up and say, oh, well, like, I don't really believe in like wearing a mask. I don't think that works. Switch flips.
Yeah.
Man, I don't think we should have, I don't think there are more than two genders. And I think you are the gender. That switch flips in their head and they go crazy. Why do you think that there are people that simply happens to? I've seen it happen in people I think are super nice. And then you just say one thing and the switch flips.
Yeah, I mean, former roommates, former friends of mine. I mean, I have tons of former friends who are just like, "Oh, you support this? No, thank you." And it's like, I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know why it happens. I guess people just can't hear things they disagree with. I mean, I think it's really what it comes down to.
It's like a hive mentality.
Yeah, they have to be 100%. I guess feel good in everything they do, in any little opposition anything they believe is like, whoa.
It's like a challenge to their opinion or a challenge to their worldview. Is thus a challenge to their entire existence.
Their personality,
like,
exactly.
Like everything. If they didn't have that worldview, even if it's 100% wrong and not based on any kind of fact, if they didn't have it, they will crumble and collapse within themselves.
Exactly.
It's insane. It's insane. We're going to talk about some of the comments that we're getting here on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Rumble because they're interesting. But everybody stick around because in the next segment of the radio, we have more to talk about regarding a Bud Light update. We're going to do a little bit of an update on what's going on with Bud Light. And we got 30 more minutes of the show. So please stay tuned. We got so much more to talk about here. Myself and my good friend Josh Bender will be right back with more Speechless on Cities 92.9 The News and talk of moving to normal and beyond. Okie dokie, everybody. Let's take a look at some of these comments. I'm also going to pull up my Rumble because I don't get those comments coming in through the StreamYard stuff. But let's go to Rumble, see what might be going on there. I hope people are watching and having a good time. Wherever you're watching from, wherever you are watching from, don't worry, you can like and subscribe and share the video from wherever you're watching from, and you can comment anywhere, and I will see it. Let's look at some of these comments that we got in this chat. We got Raven, you're catching up. I get it. All good. That's how a hive mind works. You stole the words right out of my mouth, basically. They're not independent thinkers. Ryan comes in here. We live in a post-truth world, and everyone feels they have their own truths. Yes, I kind of agree with that. I think that we've mixed the word in society to an extent of truth to mean perception. Because there's this idea that perception is reality, and I don't actually believe that. I don't think that I understand the kind of the metaphor of it, but in reality, there is only one reality. Your perception is not necessarily equal to reality, because you can believe that you can perceive that Jason Aldean's song is racist, but that doesn't make it reality.
Right.
So
that's very good way to put
it. So I don't believe that perception is reality. And so people now, instead of saying perception, instead of saying the word perception, they say truth. This is my truth. No, it's your perception. It's not your truth. It's your perception. Because there's only one truth.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
That's the way I see it. Let's see. Andrea, I'll let Alex know that you said that. Don't back down an inch. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. We got a little bit more time. I'm going to go grab a water real quick, Josh. Can
you grab me another one?
I can. You can talk crap about me, though, if you'd like to.
Oh, man, I can barely talk. If you've heard my voice, it's gotten worse as I've gone. It's because I'm feeling worse all of a sudden. But, yeah, I apologize for that. I'm not feeling great. Woke up just sick. Summer sickness. It's fun. Yeah, then I got to drive an hour and a half back. So this will be fun. Be a good day. See how I feel. But yeah, thank you all for coming. It's fun. I haven't been in studio in over a year. Yeah, over a year. And so this is really nice to be back in studio and enjoying everything. Thank you, Kevin. So this is nice.
I even gave him the light, like the pretty light that makes you look prettier. Yeah. I gave him that. He gets to
making me look worse today because I look like garbage.
No, you don't look like garbage.
Yeah,
Josh. I do. Just trash.
All right. Well, rubbish, as they say in England.
Oh yeah, tell everybody about your trip.
Yeah, I just got back from England. I was in England about a week ago. Was there for 4 days or 5 days. Really good time. Super nice. Cool city. Nice people. They're all very interested in me being an American. I never once felt unsafe, which was nice. Which contrary to people believe it's like, oh, everyone's getting like knife crime, stabbing. No, not really. I actually felt pretty safe. But very good time. Very good time. I got to see some cool things like Tower of London, Buckingham Palace, Tower Bridge. I saw the Globe Theater. That was really cool. Winston Churchill's War Rooms were awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a concert. My favorite band was they're British, and I saw them in London. Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. Good time. So
yep, Josh is a nerd, everybody. Josh is a major nerd.
We'll give that away. Is it my Spider-Man tattoo that you could clearly see?
Major nerd. Andrea, Jason Aldean's song is offensive to them because they want people to be subject to their violence. Their ideas fall flat, so force is the answer. Interesting thought. Josh, what do you think?
Great thought. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they want us to be subject. They want us to be complacent with their violence.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's all that. I mean, all the footage was leftist rioting, and so they're upset that we're pointing it out and saying, "Hey, this won't fly anywhere else other than these big cities that let you get away with it."
Yeah,
really.
Absolutely. We're going to be coming back here in just a little over 30 seconds. Josh, you want to shout out maybe like your Instagram or something, and people can.
I mean, my Instagram's private.
Okay, so never mind. Do you have anything to push, or are you just a history teacher?
Yeah, it's just history teacher. I'm gonna push Speechless with Kev Phares.
You're gonna write a book at some point, right?
I would like to.
You should start that.
That'd be fun. I actually would like to write a book.
Everybody, what is the kind of book that you think a history teacher would be good at writing? And put it in the comments what you think the title of Josh's book should be.
Actually, that's a great idea.
Put whatever the title of Josh's book, whatever you think it should be.
I'd love to do that.
Put it in the comments.
It'd be fun.
I want to know what kind of ideas they got for you.
Yeah.
I'm waiting. This is the rest of the show, everybody. We're about to come back live on the radio, and I guess I'm not going to have any content unless you put. No, I got the Bud Light update. We got that. But we're coming back right about now. Hey, and welcome back to Speechless on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. I'm your host, Kev Phares, here with my good buddy, former co-host and formerly talented Josh Bender in studio.
What's up, everybody?
Yes, I'm going to keep going with that joke, but
yeah, I know you're gonna go until it's dead, aren't you?
Oh, yep. Well, that joke will not die. It will not die. But we got so much to talk about here. I already talked about a lot of different things. Jason Aldean 2024. I had my an interesting friend, and an interesting friend from Indiana University that joined me to talk about how he's being canceled by a student government. If you missed any of that, you can go onto a YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, or Rumble, Speechless with Kev Phares, and check it out there. But we got a Bud Light update to do, everybody. I haven't talked about Bud Light or Dylan Mulvaney in quite a while, and there was actually news that dropped a few weeks ago, or a little over a week ago, I'd say now. What is it, 23rd? About 11 days ago. That Dylan Mulvaney, the subject of why boycott or why the Bud Light boycott really happened, didn't feel safe in the United States after the Bud Light backlash. And so he decided to travel to South America. Yes, made the announcement on his TikTok that obviously has millions of followers. And that's the reason why Bud Light picked him to be one of their faces in the first place. I'm going to share this video on the screen for everybody to see. But this is Dylan Mulvaney. You can hear it on the radio, obviously, in Peru. Dylan Mulvaney's in Peru. Let's take a look and a listen.
Hi, is this an okay time?
Oh, I guess
Okay,
I have my site
I'm
muted,
in
everybody.
Peru.
Do not worry. I'm going to make sure I unmute it so we can all hear it. Sorry about that.
And I'm at Machu Picchu. Isn't this just so beautiful? I'm here by myself, and I used to do a ton of solo traveling. I'm telling you, it's the best. If you could ever do a solo trip somewhere, it is such a good way to get to know yourself better. But I came here to feel something, you know what I mean? And I definitely have. I've done shaman ceremonies that were like 10 years worth of therapy. It was wild. I've seen a lot of llamas, and the people here are so kind. I feel very safe here. It's a little sad that I had to leave my country to feel safe, but that will get better eventually. And I am dying for some Trader Joe's rolled chili lime chips. But other than that, I am so content. Still haven't been kissed yet, but I'm holding out hope. And
Gross.
most of all, this trip
cool.
just has me feeling like I'm my own best friend again. And that is the best feeling in the world. And I hope that you feel that way about yourself too. And I love ya. Okay. Bye.
Well, I'm so happy Dylan loves me. That's really what I needed today.
I'm all in for the llamas. I love llamas.
All in for the llamas.
Cool.
Josh is all in for the llamas. Well, here's the thing that I find interesting about this. It's mainly the entire quote. I don't feel safe in my home country. It's so crazy. I have to go to another country to feel safe. Okay, yeah, and Peru's that place that's going to make you feel a lot safer. I'm going to take crap that didn't happen for 100, Alex, because I don't believe that in any way. I think the only thing that would make Dylan feel unsafe is maybe some dumb people that might have like sent mean DMs or something. Like I don't believe that Dylan really was getting like, okay, what you have done, Dylan, is you've made yourself a public figure. And then for a controversial issue, you're stupid if you don't understand that there's controversy around the entire transgender issue. And then you celebrate 365 days of girlhood, which is entirely just offensive to women. And then you expect to not have anybody be critical of your decisions. You expect no one to be critical. So I don't want to say you're asking for genuinely illegal things. No one should be sending direct threats to you of any kind or giving direct threats, period. I condemn that. That is
absolutely
awful. But when you're in the public eye and people are critical of you, you are asking for people to be critical of you. I get people that are critical of me. I have people that make videos that are in response to my own. I have people that call me racist, sexist, homophobic, all this crap that's not true. But I'm kind of inviting that criticism because I post all of my, a lot of my opinions on the internet. So I am inviting that criticism just as much as you are, Dylan. So to not feel safe in the United States, the only reason you don't feel safe in the United States is really because you've made yourself a public figure.
Yeah.
What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, and it's like, it's interesting. Why? Why don't you feel safe? Do you not feel safe in LA or New York? Well, yeah, I don't feel safe in LA or New York either because they're LA or New York. That's where these leftist DAs have run rampant and wild and let people just get hurt and victimized because of it for equity, and yeah, I mean, of course that's where you feel unsafe. I feel perfectly safe in the town I live in. I feel perfectly safe down here in Blono. It's like there's places you feel safe. It's just, yeah, if you're in New York or LA or Chicago, well, yeah, of course you're not going to feel safe. I don't feel safe there.
Yep.
And I'm like the demographics that's supposed to be protected.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and so since now leaving and going to visit the llamas in Peru to feel safe, Dylan is now looking for work. Must be unemployed by Bud Light or something. But trans influencer out of the New York Post, Dylan Mulvaney, is looking to cash in on his newfound notoriety in the wake of the Bud Light fiasco by, quote, booking speaking opportunities on college campuses. And I think this is really interesting. I'm going to get into the exact facts of it. But so Dylan is looking for work on college campuses to talk to people about LGBTQIA plus advocacy, social media, women's empowerment, which is really funny. Women's empowerment.
Yeah.
As well as diversity, equity, and inclusion. Okay, first off, left the United States to feel safe, but also wants to speak on college campuses. I'll tell you, I mean, you'll probably be treated pretty well, Dylan, because college campuses are not places of truth. They're places of fantasy land and talking about incorrect ideas such as men becoming women and women becoming men. But I'll tell you, if you were Riley Gaines going onto a college campus trying to talk about men and women's sports, I'm sure you wouldn't feel safe.
Yeah.
If you were Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, anybody of that name, of Ben Shapiro, all of them have in some way had a crime of violence, either through verbal or physical threat, made to them because they went and spoke on college campuses. So you're going to flee the country because you feel unsafe, but now you want to go speak on college campuses again, probably because that's one of the only places where your hooey wooey baloney bullcrap is actually going to be accepted. But I think the funniest part, and I want your thoughts on this, Josh, that Dylan Mulvaney, man who pretends to be a woman, gets paid as an actor to act as a woman when he's really a man, wants to speak to college students about women's empowerment. Josh, what kind of expertise do you think Dylan would have on women's empowerment?
I mean, as much as any other women's and gender studies major does. So like zero?
Really? But I think I think even a professor who teaches women's and gender studies that is actually a woman would be more experienced on empowering women.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
Than a man.
Yeah. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I've ran into a couple women's and gender studies professors at ISU. They're not the brightest people in the world. In fact, I think I got into a little disagreement with one, a little spat with one, but it was fun, good time. But I could definitely outright them in anything. But yeah, I mean, women's empowerment. I think the bigger point, and I think the point that's really interesting to me is, yeah, Dylan Mulvaney flees to Peru, comes back, and now is going to go talk on college campuses.
That's the want here. That's what Dylan's trying to do. What I think is really insulting about this, Josh, is that so Dylan just recently celebrated 365 days of girlhood. Right?
Right.
Just so only a year of, even if we take the premise,
I think a little over a year now.
Yeah, it's a little over a year, but let's accept the premise for a second, just to walk this out a little bit. Let's accept the premise that Dylan actually has become a woman. Let's accept that premise. Okay, so Dylan actually is a woman in this fantasy land. Dylan has become a woman, celebrates 1 year of becoming a woman. Now is claiming to be an expert that can go speak to other people about women's empowerment.
Right.
I know people that have been women for upwards of 20 years.
Right.
That are not necessarily even experts on women's empowerment, but would have more expertise because they've been women for 20 years.
Exactly.
How insulting is it even to accept the premise that Dylan is actually a woman? How insulting is that to women who were born women? How insulting is it to them to say that I've only been a woman, quote unquote, for a year, and I'm already qualified to go speak on women's empowerment and being a woman.
Yeah, I mean, I think to name a conservative woman who gets attacked for being a woman, Candace Owens.
Yep.
I mean, Candace Owens is relentlessly attacked, and it's, oh my god, you're giving into this narrative of what women are and how they're this and that, and it's like, but she's an actual woman. She's a woman. She's living her life. She may have a perspective you don't agree with, but maybe go listen to her and maybe see and just see what happens. I mean, there's tons of conservative women who are attacked and criticized and chastised for leading into the patriarchy, and all this stuff. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I think I want to see, actually, I want to get Dylan to come to ISU.
I'd be very interested.
I want Dylan,
be very interested to see what Dylan.
I want Dylan to come to my Turning Point USA chapter meetings. I think it'd be one of the most fascinating interactions I would ever have.
I encourage it.
No, but the 26-year-old has seen her influence wither since the disastrous tie-up with Bud Light, which has jeopardized the brand's decades-long reign as the nation's top-selling beer, which we all know. The most recent figures released by Nielsen IQ data provided by Bump Williams Consulting showed that Bud Light sales have dropped 23.6% in the 1-week period ended in July 8th. But since that infamous post, Bud Light on April 1st, Mulvaney has only pitched a hair product. That's the only partnership that Mulvaney has had since that time is a hair product. It seems as though because before even Bud Light, Mulvaney posted brand endorsements from Ulta, Nike, Kate Spade, Charlotte Tilbury, MAC Cosmetics, and the influencer even worked with KitchenAid, Instacart, and the tampon company Tampax. So Mulvaney was raking it in, but after this Bud Light one, Mulvaney doesn't seem to be getting as much work, seeming to be why he wants to go and do college campus speeches. But out of Breitbart, we are coming up against a break here soon, but Anheuser-Busch CEO downplays. So I've talked in the past about Bud Light's CEO. This is Anheuser-Busch, the full parent company CEO, downplayed the Dylan Mulvaney impact on Bud Light. Michael Dorcas, or Duke Rias, something like that, CEO of the global brand Anheuser-Busch InBev, sought to downplay the impact of the Dylan Mulvaney partnership that it has had in Bud Light. He said, quote, "The Bud Light volume decline in the U.S. over the first 3 weeks of April, as publicly reported, would represent only 1% of our overall global volumes for that period. This was the result of one can. Was not made for production or sale to the general public. It was one post, not a formal campaign or advertisement." He's obviously trying to downplay it, as we know from previously stated statistics. Over $30 billion. I'm sorry, $30 million, I believe. Maybe it's not. I don't know if it's million or billion. Do you know, Josh?
I don't know, if I'm being honest.
Let's just Google real quick. How much has Bud Light lost? But what do you think about him trying to downplay it in the media?
I mean, they're trying to downplay it because in at the base level, they're correct. It was a post, and it was a single can that wasn't for sale. At the base level, 100% correct. But when does it ever just stop there? When it comes to these deals, I mean, these brand deals, and at the end of the day, even if it was a post, you're still teaming up with someone. I mean, if you see an influencer post, "Oh, hey, I love this so and so," they're still getting paid consistently. Every single like that video, every single like that thing gets, you're gonna get some sort of money. Or every time you go buy that product and put a code in, you're getting money. So it was going to be a continued partnership.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, real quick too, before we take this break, Bud Light, this was back even on June 2nd. June 2nd, they were down 27 billion. So it's billion with a B, not million. 27 billion, which means that I'd say they've probably lost upwards of 30 billion since this boycott began. And we're not going to stop. I think people are tired of companies going woke. And if you can see, I mean, the left tries to boycott Jason Aldean. His song hits #1. The right boycotts Bud Light. And they are actually losing a lot. I've covered it so many times on this show. They are losing a lot. The silent majority isn't being silent anymore, everybody. And so it's time that we are not speechless. Pun intended, absolutely. We'll be right back in the next segment with the end of the show with me and Josh rounding it out. Everybody, stay tuned. We got more coming up. Speechless on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal and beyond. Okie dokie. Let's see. I saw some people talking about your potential book up here. How to Play Chess Better, Becky Swan said.
I'm not very good at chess to begin with, so.
Well, I guess you'd be able to learn a little bit on how to do it better then. You're starting from a good place if you're trying to be better at it. That's true. Ryan McKenzie, why the Earth is a dinosaur shaped.
Yep.
Pictures and Thoughts by Josh Bender.
Velociraptor Earth. That's yeah.
Yep.
That's a good theory I found. By the way, that is a joke. Just so everyone knows, that is a joke. It was a thing. I think it circulated on Facebook like a couple years ago, and it was Velociraptor Earth, and I found it hilarious. So
Mhm.
now, if anyone asks me if I think the Earth is round or flat, I say it's Velociraptor shaped, and just throw them off.
That's funny. Let's see what else we got. They started going off about Peru and everything. Let's see. Peru isn't exactly a safe place to hide if you're a flat-chested weirdo in a dress pretending to be a 14-year-old girl.
Yeah, Taiwan maybe,
Yeah, I guess
or
so.
Thailand.
Thailand,
Thailand, yeah.
Thailand. A lot of flat chests over in Thailand. I believe Bud Light has lost over $70 billion. Now, I haven't seen that stat, but maybe you might be right. Has fallen as to 14th place as the most popular beer. Interesting.
Wow.
Absolutely. Dylan should, this is kind of funny. Becky, Dylan should partner with AA. Yep. I got to be honest. It hasn't kept me sober. It's just kept me away from Bud Light.
Yeah.
Can still find other beers. Absolutely. Let's talk about, I see some people talking about Sound of Freedom in my, we'll end out the show with some Sound of Freedom talk. I know you haven't seen it
I
yet.
still haven't seen it. I know.
But we're going to talk a little bit about that.
I saw the much more American movie Barbie.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that one. That one's the Barbie is not an American. From
kidding.
everything I heard, it's not a very American movie.
I'm joking. I did enjoy it, but I not as Oppenheimer was much better.
Absolutely, I get that. I do want to let everybody know too, while we're still on this break before the end of the show. I talked about this earlier, but I want to keep shouting it out because I think it's really cool. So I have this website, unitedmerch.com. You can look through their t-shirts there. I have a code that you can use to get 20% off a t-shirt. It's my partner code. You can go to unitedmerch.com and bring it up on the screen. Use code speechless at checkout for 20% off. We're doing big things here, and I'm trying to help out this company. They're still on their come up. You can go follow them to see what new stuff they got going on. I always wear on my show Anti-Socialism Social Club. I just ordered this cancel culture one that you can see on the side over there. I'm getting a lot of stuff from them. I just ordered mine, so you guys can go order if you want to wear stuff that I wear and some cool conservative merch. Again, use your code speechless. They got some more stickers here too. Straight out of ammo. They're funny. They're funny. They got some fun
remember,
stuff.
You're gonna look much better than he does.
Yep, you're
So
gonna look a lot better than I.
Don't worry about that.
Yep. Josh is gonna get some.
I am. I think I will.
Yep. All you got to do is use speechless at checkout, 20% off.
Yeah, I'm gonna look later. I'll probably after a nap. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm so tired.
Don't worry. Yep. You can take a nap.
Barbie, if I were hey, listen, I wanted to see Barbie. Margot Robbie. I was in.
Some people say she's mid. Josh, what do you have to say about that?
Think if you think she's mid, then you have a very bad perception of women.
I said some people. It's not me. It's not me. It's not me. I know what I believe, and I don't believe she's mid.
That's a shout out to our friend Mitch.
Did Mitch say that
he did?
He
did. I know, but I mean, look at him.
I was about to say a really mean thing about his girlfriend, but I'm not going to say it.
She's very sweet.
I'm not, because she is so sweet, Myra. She's really sweet, I'm not going to say it. But thank you guys so much for tuning in, everybody. Raven you said Tax the Socialist. You like that one? Again, all you got to do, go to the website, unitedmerch.com, and you can use the code speechless at checkout, 20% off.
I also think Revolutionary War. It's a good topic for my book.
Revolutionary War. Yeah.
People what I study.
Anybody else got other ideas for his book? Communist Feminism: How Women Destroyed the West.
There we go.
By Josh.
There we go. It's mainly that's just my heartbreak. Like just me spewing about my heartbreak.
Yeah, I think you should write it under a pseudonym as if you're a woman.
There you go.
Do it like actually just write it as your sister. Say it's by Jada Bender.
I won't do that.
Yeah, do that. Write it as your sister.
No, I won't do it. No.
Jesse Bender. Make it kind of
my sister's doing better things than I am, so
this is true. Your sister's gonna be like an actual health person.
Yeah.
A nurse.
That is the word for
That's
it.
a health person.
That is the word for it.
I'm a talkie person.
Yeah, I'm talking. I'm an educationally person.
You're
I'm a teachy person.
A groomer? Is that what it's called?
No.
Oh no, teacher. Groomer, teacher, same thing, right?
No.
I'm kidding. Oh, here's a good title. This would be a good title. The Real History of the USA. The real.
I say that a lot in my class. I'm like, this is what the book says. This is what this says. Here's what's actually going on.
Yeah, the book says that that the CIA shot first, but we all know JFK shot
JFK
first.
shot first.
All right, we're coming back soon here. And we are back with Speechless on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal and beyond. Why do I say beyond? Well, because you might be listening right now on your radio, but we are reaching much further places in the world, and it is Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Rumble. You can go check out our live streams there, interact with me. I can interact with you in the studio. You can see the comment section is lighting up. We got so many people talking about what Josh's book should be about.
Yeah.
So I got my good buddy Josh Bender in studio. All the way from Nevada. He used to go to ISU, but now he teaches at a school in Nevada. But he came back to Illinois and to Bloomington Normal just to talk with all of you. And so he was talking a little bit. I said, Josh, you should write a book because he's a history teacher. He's a conservative. We could use a little bit more expertise out there. And so we were talking, if you got any ideas for what Josh's book should be about, give her text or call in at 309-451-9299, or you could leave it in the comments section. We got The Real History of the USA,
which I think is a great one.
Is definitely a good option. We also got How Women Destroyed the West by Josh,
which I said is just gonna be me just sharing my heartbreak.
Oh yeah, all of your heartbreak, your Alabama girlfriend and everything like that.
Hey, we can co-author this one.
We can co-author that one, absolutely. Well, I want to talk a little bit about. There's a movie that came out, Josh, and you haven't seen it yet. But it is called The Sound of Freedom. I did a full-length review of this movie on my YouTube channel, Speechless with Kev Phares. But Josh, I know you haven't seen it yet, but what have you heard about The Sound of Freedom?
I mean, I hear it's phenomenal in terms of it's just it's a message that everyone needs to know and hear and see and experience. So I hear a lot about that. I hear a lot about obviously from the left, people like Rolling Stone pushing back, saying it's a QAnon movie for dads with brain worms. I think that was an exact quote.
It is an exact quote.
Which I found it was like they opened a thesaurus and just started writing things down. Mm-hmm. But I hear that a lot of that. I hear they're messing with people who are watching the movies. Like there's no air conditioning, or they leave the lights on, or
volume too loud,
or it doesn't work at all, or it's all glitchy. Like things like it seems like there's been problems with this book or with this movie. So yeah, I mean, I hear a lot about it, but I hear it's a phenomenal movie. I need to experience it. I feel bad for not. I just have been busy, and maybe
you were too busy going to watch Barbie, weren't you?
I saw Oppenheimer as well.
Okay, you saw Oppenheimer as well. Yeah,
I experienced.
I'm just giving you a hard time, but yeah, The Sound of Freedom is, in my opinion, the most important film of the 21st century. I went to see it last week. Saw some good friends out at the theater. I went with David Paul Blumenshine, my friend, but I also got to see Pam Kuchenmeister, a frequent listener of Cities 92.9. She went to see it. And I got to tell you, everybody in this community, everybody across this country needs to see it. America is the #1 consumer of child sex trafficking. It's awful. There are more slaves today than there ever were, even when slavery was legal. And they are through human trafficking. I believe at least there are 300,000 children per year that go missing in the United States. 100,000 of them are oftentimes put into child sex trafficking. 1/3 of those that go missing are put into child sex trafficking. It is something that we need to be aware of. And it's something that oftentimes people do not want to be talking about. This movie is not just a movie, it's a movement. And everybody should go see it today, if you can. Today, tomorrow, sometime in the next few days. And let me know what you think. You can go on to Speechless with Kev Phares on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, all that kind of stuff. Leave it in the comments and let me know what you thought of this movie. I have a lot of ideas on how we can try to make sure everybody in this community, at least in Bloomington Normal, goes to see it. David Paul Blumenshine and I are working on that a little bit. But Josh, we're ending out the show. You want to say goodbye to everybody real quick?
Yeah, goodbye, everybody. I'm so glad I could be in studio. I'll try to do this more when I can if I come back home. But thank you all for being here. I love everyone who listens.
Of course. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. I'm your host, Kev Phares, and we'll be back next week, 3 to 5. You can also go make sure you like, subscribe, and share on YouTube and everything. We'll be back next week. See you later. Awesome. Everybody, if you're still on the live stream, we're going to be logging off for now, but thank you so much for tuning in. God bless you. God bless America. Ooh, and thank you for watching Speechless on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and everywhere else. I got my daily show coming back tomorrow, so make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Bye-bye.